now our friend Pam Keith, attorney, served in the U.S. Navy in JAG Corps as a lawyer, CEO of Center for Employment Justice, a legal services firm dedicated to addressing injustice and discrimination in the workplace. Pam, Happy New Year.
New Year of some sort.
It's a new year. It is a new year. Same garbage. All right,
I'm
let's
not
talk
sure
Venezuela.
I can say happy. I got to be sorry. I entered 2025 in full dread mode, and 2026 is like dread times 10.
It's a different thing. We had a good end of 2025 with the elections, but look, you served in our military in the U.S. Navy. You were a lawyer in JAG Corps. What's your reaction from a legal point of view to what happened here? What's going on? Is there any justification for attacking the country and then kidnapping their leader?
I mean, certainly for the duration of my lifetime, there has been a world order, right? And Russia has asserted its power, or the Soviet Union asserted its power over its part of the world. And we asserted our power over the world in our way. And China is now wanting to do the same thing. What I'm saying is, it has always been true that there has been regional powers, I guess is my point. But it also has been true that for the duration of my lifetime, there has been largely an agreement about territorial sovereignty and territorial lines, and that the UN, NATO, and various international organizations have attempted to enforce those territorial boundaries through diplomacy and through international agreement and through the ICJ and various international entities for the express purpose of maintaining global stability and to avoid World War III and all of those things. The United States has always believed that the countries in our hemisphere cannot be in the control of our adversaries, Russia and China. Like, we have asserted that. I mean, you think about what the Bay of Pigs really was. It was us saying, no, Cuba, you don't get to have Russian missiles in your turf because you're too close to us. Now, that's a imperialistic attitude, right? Theoretically, Cuba should be able to do what it wants, just like Honduras should be able to do what it wants, and Panama should be able to do what it wants, because they're sovereign nations. But in reality, it's never been 100% true that we have a hands-off attitude towards these countries. We influence them in subtle ways and not so subtle ways. But it has not been our doctrine of the United States that we're just going to have sort of imperial control over other countries, the way it was in the English Empire, or the way that it was in the French Empire, or the way that it was in many other empires. America kind of prided itself on the fact that it wasn't a colonial power, that it wasn't an imperial power, and that our influence was soft influence. It was through trade and through diplomacy, through USAID, and through all these, and also, with the strength of our military sort of being the global police force. And for the longest time, Dean, I strongly believe that I wanted the United States to be the global police because I didn't want it to be Russia or China. And I believe for the longest time that we were a benevolent force, and that we would be moved by humanitarian principles and so on. And it has been a shock and disappointment of my adulthood to learn that it was actually not a good thing for the United States to be the global police force, because it was too easy for that global police force and that massive military to fall into the hands of a lunatic. And I think for the duration of my time as an American adult, I believed our checks and balances and our democratic system and our two-party system and all of these things, our institutions would sort of prohibit the worst elements and the most extreme elements from gaining power and abusing these massive cudgels that we have poured so many tax dollars into, including most especially our military. But I was wrong. It's that simple. I was wrong. I was wrong because I was wrong because I had way more faith in white people than I should have. I was wrong because I think I was not paying close enough attention to the takeover of governmental entities by interested financial interests like
Hmm.
Elon Musk's and the Larry Ellison's and all of these people. I didn't pay close enough attention because they were kind of percolating in the background, and I didn't pay close enough attention to what they would do when they get access to the halls of government. I wore, and the thing that I look back on my Twitter, because I'm not on Twitter anymore, but I look back on some of my tweets, when Trump won the first time, I warned Democrats that our party would get taken over by centrist Republicans and pulled to the right. And I was right. When Biden announced that he was going to run for reelection, I said, this is a mistake. You're too old. And I was right. When we sort of deferred to Kamala, I said, look, we don't have time for an open primary. We got to just land on somebody. But if it's not Kamala, you're going to have World War III with the black vote, and we can't win that way. So it's going to be
Right.
Kamala. But I said from the very beginning, Kamala can't win.
Hmm.
Like years before, I said Kamala can't win because I didn't have faith in the electorate to elect a black woman. And I was right. Like, when I look back at my Twitter feed at the number of times that I called out off ramps and said, hey, we need to get off of this crazy train right here, right now. And Pelosi didn't want to do it, or Biden didn't want to do it, or Obama didn't want to do it, or whatever. I look back at it and I'm like, I'm not that smart. Everything that I foresaw, everybody else could foresee. So, what was happening to us that we were simply incapable of mounting a real opposition? And we are still, as we speak, incapable of mounting a real opposition. I don't know.
It, I don't know why there wasn't like a, a response by Democrats that were very forceful. The ones in Congress. I played some good clips from Murphy and Van Hollen and others, and I don't understand Democratic strategy. And then again, maybe online they're doing something. But I want to get your reaction though to the fact that Trump did not give Congress any kind of heads up and did not inform them. He did not get authorization, but he told the oil companies before and after
Yeah.
that he was
Why
going
would
to
he?
do this. This
I mean,
is this is like the most egregious, in-your-face colonialism, steal the resources of a smaller country than
well,
I've seen. And maybe I want the plausibility of, well, look, we're doing it for democracy. Not no,
no,
with
we're not.
Trump and Rubio, there's nothing, zero. It's just
No,
let's take the oil.
they're doing it because they can.
I know, but we could do a
Might
lot of
makes right.
things. Look,
Might
I mean,
makes right.
with Cuba, it's different. Cuba, they were going to have weapons that were a threat to us. This is we don't want. They don't want. We don't want them to sell oil to certain people that we view as adversarial. Rubio's like, why are they selling oil to Russia? So you're going to tell a country who they can sell things to? That's not a threat. It's not. They can go buy the oil from other places. It's not putting weapons pointed at us from 90 miles off our
Yeah, but
coast. That's a whole different scenario.
yeah, but I mean, like, let's be honest. He's doing it because he
If
can.
not,
He's just double
yeah,
done.
that's true. You can do a
He's
lot of
just
things.
daring the world to stop him, and the world's not going to stop him. We've built relationships such that Europe can't really stop us, England can't really stop us, Russia's not going to really stop us. Like, who's going to stop
No.
us? I mean, we built this monster. We built this monster, and now we've put this monster in the control of an even worse monster, right? Like, we decided we wanted the most lethal, the most well-equipped, the most badass military on planet Earth, and we have it. And so now we put that tool in the hands of a madman. But I mean, why should he talk to Congress? What's Congress going to do if he doesn't?
Nothing. We don't have a constitution any longer
We
that's
we don't
functioning.
have a constitution anymore because the Republicans are so wrapped up in this Trumpism, they don't want a constitution anymore. One thing we've learned is that to have constitutional checks and balances, every entity has to be assertive in fighting for its authority. One of the things that shocked me early on in January when all of these agencies got all these orders to fire people, not a one of them said no. Not a one of them said make me. They just did it. And then we spent millions and millions and millions of dollars fighting it and putting people back to work and then furloughing them again and then putting them back and fighting this and that. It's like there was not a single agency head that said, hell no, make me. And we don't have a Congress that says, hell no, we're not going to let you. We don't have a courts that say, hell no, you can't do that. Like we just have no entities. And the problem is we are staring down the double barrel of, like right now, everybody's just holding their breath to the election in November. And I keep telling people that's a mistake. Because if they're willing to invade Venezuela, what makes you think they're going to sit for a fair election and allow us to vote them out? Where's the theory behind it? Because people just can't even imagine a no election or an election so molested that its results is completely rejected by the majority of everybody.
Right.
So, my question is, what makes you think he's going to play by the rules when it comes to an election? He's not playing by the rules with respect to anything else.
The guy attempted a coup and incited the January 6th terrorist attack. Tomorrow's the 5th anniversary of that. No, he won't. The question is, what can we do between now and November 3rd, which is election day, to ensure as much as possible that we do have full and fair elections?
I don't have the answer to that, Dean, because, here's the problem. We don't know what they can do to the elections. Mm-hmm. We have had so many people online talk about the irregularities of the 2024 election, right? His theory was that there were fake people going to elections and voting in 2020, right? That was his theory. Oh, the ballot boxes were stuffed with fake ballots, and every theory that he threw as to how the election could get thrown was analyzed, dug into, and debunked, right? But we Democrats were so quick to show that we're not like him. We can accept results we don't like, blah, 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 that we chose to ignore Elon Musk coming out and saying one line of code can change the election result. And nobody felt like we needed to investigate that. We have every single swing state was won by Trump on undervotes, every single one, meaning ballots that had no vote for president, but were voted at the bottom of the ballot. Every other race was voted but president. It was blank for president. That is insane. Every single state was won in exactly the same way by hundreds of thousands of votes, and nobody can explain how that happened. Well, we didn't choose to investigate it. So we don't know what they can do. We can't run with an allegation that is the sign of tampering because we don't know how it happened. We know it happened, we just don't know how. And because we don't know how, we can't claim it's illegitimate. So I don't know what they're going to do in November. What I do know is that monsters like this are not going to let us vote them out. That I do know. And the more I tell people that, the more they tell me that I'm crazy. Only problem is I haven't been crazy up to this point.
I don't think you're crazy yet. I think you're far from crazy. The more illegality Trump does, the less likely he ever leaves office. I've said before, I don't think he leaves office alive. I think either he dies in office or
I'm just praying that the Lord delivers us. I honestly think the only way we get delivered of this evil is for him to die.
Right, and that very well could happen. Or he could become so incompetent that at some point, even there, we can't use him anymore. We've squeezed every ounce out of him, and now he's so babbling idiot, we have to put J.D. Vance into there. But no, I don't think... I have no idea what to expect between now and November. I'm really worried about the Supreme Court decision had to deal with the Voting Rights Act because that gives them legitimacy to then redesign districts without race being involved, meaning they could take 15 to 20 seats. And that almost is a permanent majority for the Republicans. Almost, not definitely. It just makes it much harder.
I don't know, Dean, because I don't understand white people. I thought I did. I don't.
White people?
I don't understand the people in his, because there's millions of people around the country that see this and are like, I'm good with it. You
I know.
know,
I see that. Yep. A lot of
they
people not
decide that
outraged.
they support him because they're mad that liberals don't like them anymore. Like they, like literally, if you look
Right.
on
That's funny.
TikTok, you're spending time on social media, which by the way, thank you, Democrats, for forcing the sale of TikTok to Larry Ellison. So it's now an entirely MAGA platform. Um, but you look on TikTok, I mean, the reason Republicans are so angry is because we don't like them anymore. So they're just gonna stay they're just gonna stay in their little silo of MAGAdom because they're not welcome anywhere. They're not welcome in civilized society. So they've decided to stick with it. Okay. But they just don't, I saw somebody say, like, look, they vote in their best psychological interest. They don't vote in
Right.
their best financial interest. They
Right.
vote
Right.
in their
It's
best
well put. I agree.
social psychological interest.
Hmm.
And I think that that's going to remain true to form because no matter how bad it gets, if they admit that they were wrong, where do they go?
They got no place to go, like in Officer and a Gentleman with Richard Gere. Remember? Did you
They
see that
got no
movie?
place to go, so they might as
I
well
got
just
no place
ride
to
away.
go. I got no place. Like, why don't you quit? Because I got no place to go. I always think of that. I'm chatting with our friend Pam Keith. So, I mean, Pam, but we're at the point where Trump is threatening NATO allies
Yep,
and with Greenland. And Denmark's prime minister actually responded by invoking Article 5 of the NATO Charter, saying it's a member of NATO and therefore covered by the alliance's collective security guarantee.
yep.
I don't know if the history of NATO where someone had to invoke the the threat of Article 5 against the United States of America, but that's where we are thanks to Donald Trump.
Yep. So the question is, what is Denmark going to do when he attacks Greenland and decides to take it? What are they going to do? Do they have the army
Sanctions
to beat
or
our
nothing?
army?
No,
No,
of course not. No, of course not.
right? Do they have, I mean, my hope and my prayer is that China starts to dump our treasury bonds like it's
Oh my
going out of
gosh.
style because never forget that one of the relationships and investments in Venezuela was China. They invested billions of dollars in refining capacity and in oil, in contracts with Venezuela. China's not happy. China's pissed off. And all it would take is for our former allies to become our adversaries financially, and they could cripple us.
Well, that would be really bad if China were to dump our treasuries. It would drag down the economy. I mean, that's what pays
It
our
would
debt. It would be
catastrophically affect our economy, and I'm just hoping they do because it's only because bullies only learn from getting punched in the mouth, and
I
we're
agree,
a
but
bully
that would be
right now.
really, really bad for us as a nation. That there's different things I'd like. I have no problem. People boycotting the Olympics, boycotting the World Cup, that kind of
None of
stuff.
that
I'm
matters.
hoping that's not because that would be devastating. But all right, look, we only got like
Do you
5 minutes.
think
I
he'll learn
want to.
from anything less than total devastation?
No, no. You only. How did Hitler and Mussolini leave
You
office?
only learn
They
by
were driven out by military action. That's how. When you
exactly.
have these kind of
So,
people.
so I don't think we should be sitting around hoping that we avoid devastation because
Oh
we're not
boy.
going to get rid of this guy without devastation. We're not going to get rid of this guy without major, massive situational stuff like national strikes. Americans are not
Oh,
suited
national.
to
Right.
national strikes. We're
We're
just
not.
not.
We're not, but that would be a very good thing. But look, I want to get your reaction because I'm chatting with Pam Keith. You served in the U.S. Navy and JAG Corps on what Pete Hegseth is doing now to Mark Kelly, the senator who just put out a video with other Democrats of warning people about the law, about don't obey illegal orders. And Hegseth calls it a seditious statement and now is actually acted on it, and they're going to reduce his retirement rank and pay, and that he has 30 days to appeal. What's your reaction to this stuff?
He is so poor. He is so thoroughly corrupted the military and the military justice systems. He's going to get away with doing whatever he wants. He got rid of anybody who would say no. He got rid
Get
of
rid
all
of the
the
JAG lawyers, right?
IGs,
The
all of the JAGs that
TJAGs.
would say no are gone. All the generals that would say no are gone. All of the Navy admirals that would say no are gone. So what you have left is yes people. So yeah, he's going to do it. And he's going to get away with it. Is it right? No. Is it even in the ballpark of right? No. This is not how it's supposed to work at all, right? But because a retirement benefit is based on your on active duty performance. And he didn't do anything criminal or whatever. So but we allowed Pete Hegseth to be the defense secretary. And when we had all of the cannon fodder to get him out of that position, we didn't push it. We didn't shut down Congress to get rid of the Secretary of Defense because he so badly compromised an operation by putting it on signal. That should have been the end of Pete Hegseth. That should have been the end. But Democrats don't fight, don't know how to fight, don't think to fight, are only thinking about their own reelection. And they just don't want to hold the line. Like, we couldn't get Democrats to hold the line on the budget. We can't get Democrats to hold the line on anything. And the reason we can't is because we have people like Jared Golden and Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, Henry Cuellar, who call themselves Democrats. We have people like John Fetterman who call themselves Democrats. And we voted for them and we supported them because the party told us we had to, because we couldn't win in those districts if those people were real Democrats. So we had to put up with Democrat light. It didn't work with Sinema and Manchin. It's not working now.
No, and Fetterman ran as a Democrat. It was actually progressive, and something has changed. But
he had a stroke and it broke his brain.
I think there is some I think there's some scientific data that might back that up. I think it's a very interesting point. So, how do you think the impact is on the military when they see what they're doing to Mark Kelly? Are they going to be like, this is shocking?
The military is already lost to us. I don't know why people don't get that. The military is already lost to us. Because, I mean, think about this. There was a military operation that was clearly illegal to blow up fishermen in Caribbean waters. When there was an opposition to that, they were told to resign and to retire, which they did. So the people who were left were all for it. We invaded a foreign country without congressional approval. No military person worth their shit would do that without objection. So the people left are not military people worth a shit. They're not. And if you think that a lieutenant commander or a captain or a major is going to step up and hold the line when the admiral doesn't, when the general doesn't, you're wrong. I told you they would shoot American citizens if they were called upon to do so. They will. They will, because they are rudderless at this point. They're going to do whatever they're told to do. We have broken this system on so many levels in so many ways at the same time. Like, people are not taking stock of what happened to the United States in the year 2025. They are not understanding how broken we are.
Happy New Year, everyone. And I have to let you go, Pam, because they're coming to put me in a camp in a little while. And I have to let you go because we're running out of time, my friend. Where can people follow? I have like 40 seconds off. Where can people follow you?
I'm on Blue Sky. Pam Keith, PC, on Blue Sky. That's where you'll find my rantings and my ravings.
That's good. And on this show, it's great chatting with you. I love your honesty, and even though it's painful, but it is where we are. Thanks, Pam. Have a great night.